Imagine a Boeing 777, one of the world's most reliable jets, vanishing into thin air with 239 souls on board. This isn't a plot of a sci-fi thriller, but the chilling reality of Malaysia Flight 370. It was March 8, 2014, when Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 took off from Kuala Lumpur International Airport, destined for Beijing. On board this seemingly ordinary red-eye flight were 227 passengers from 14 different nations and 12 crew members. A melting pot of cultures, professions, and stories, all aboard one airplane, embarking on a journey that was supposed to last less than 6 hours. The flight was commanded by Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah, a veteran pilot with over 33 years of experience. His co-pilot, First Officer Fariq Abdul Hamid, although less experienced, was no novice himself. Between them, they had over 20,000 hours of flight experience. As the Boeing 777 climbed to its cruising altitude, everything seemed perfectly normal. The aircraft followed its planned route, heading northeast over the South China Sea. It communicated with air traffic control, reporting its position as expected. But as the clock struck 1:17 a.m., something inexplicable happened. The plane's transponder, a device that communicates with ground radar, suddenly went silent. The last words from the cockpit were eerily mundane. "Good night, Malaysian 370. The flight was supposed to continue on its path, crossing into Vietnamese airspace, but it didn't. Instead, it disappeared from radar screens, initiating one of the greatest aviation mysteries of our time. And despite the extensive technology at our disposal, the constant surveillance of our skies, the Boeing 777 seemed to have slipped through the cracks. In a world where we feel more connected and monitored than ever before, how could a commercial jetliner simply disappear? Just as the flight reached the boundary between Malaysian and Vietnamese airspace, it vanished, leaving no trace behind. As the plane disappeared from radar, a frantic search began. The world held its breath, hoping for the best, yet fearing the worst. The initial search for Malaysia Flight 370 was a desperate race against the clock led by Malaysian and Vietnamese authorities. Their efforts were fueled by hope, a hope that the plane and its passengers would be found safe and sound. The search was concentrated in the South China Sea, where the plane was last reported by the Subang Air Traffic Control. However, the search was plagued with confusion from the start. The last known location of the flight was mired in uncertainty. Original reports suggested that the plane had disappeared off the east coast of Malaysia. But then, military radar data pointed to a different direction altogether, indicating that the plane had made a sharp left turn and headed back over the Malaysian peninsula, only to vanish once again. This ambiguity about the flight's final moments made the search operation all the more difficult. It was like looking for a needle in a haystack, but the haystack was the vast expanse of the Indian Ocean, and the needle was a Boeing 777. The search area was expanded to an unprecedented scale, spanning from the South China Sea to the Strait of Malacca, and eventually to the southern Indian Ocean. Countries from around the globe pooled their resources to aid in the search. Over 24 countries, including Australia, China, India, and the United States, joined the effort, deploying ships, aircraft, and satellites. The world had never seen such a massive and coordinated international search operation. It was a testament to the global community's shared hope and collective resolve. Yet, as days turned into weeks and weeks into months, the search yielded no tangible results. The plane remained elusive and the fate of its passengers and crew unknown. The world was left grappling with a baffling enigma. Despite the massive international effort, the initial search turned up nothing, deepening the mystery and sparking countless theories. As weeks turned into months, the mystery of Flight 370 deepened, but small pieces of the puzzle began to emerge from the depths of the ocean. Our tale takes a grim turn as debris from the missing aircraft began washing up on the distant shores of Africa. In July 2015, more than a year after the plane's disappearance, a flaperon, a component of the wing, was found on Reunion Island, off the coast of Madagascar. This discovery marked the first tangible evidence that the ill-fated flight had indeed met its end in the ocean depths. Over the following months and years, other pieces of debris were found on the coasts of Mozambique, Tanzania, and even as far afield as the eastern shores of South Africa. Each piece, a silent testament to the tragic fate of Flight 370, offered investigators crucial clues about the plane's final moments. As the search for debris continued, so did the analysis of the satellite data. This data, known as handshakes, were the plane's attempts to communicate with a satellite even after contact with air traffic control was lost. These handshakes offered the only real-time information about the flight's path after it veered off course. Teams of international experts pored over this data, attempting to reconstruct the plane's likely path. Their analysis suggested that the aircraft had flown south over the Indian Ocean for several hours, before running out of fuel and plunging into the sea. This analysis pointed towards a likely crash site in the southern Indian Ocean, far off the coast of Western Australia. However, despite the mounting evidence suggesting a crash site in the Indian Ocean, the search was fraught with difficulties. The Indian Ocean is the third largest ocean in the world, with depths reaching more than 4 miles in some places. Its vastness and depth, combined with the challenging weather conditions, made the search an incredibly daunting task. Nevertheless, teams of dedicated searchers, undeterred by the scale of the challenge, pressed on. They scoured tens of thousands of square miles of ocean floor, using advanced underwater vehicles and sophisticated sonar technology. Yet the elusive main wreckage of Flight 370 remained hidden in the ocean's abyss. As the search operation stretched into its third year, it became the most expensive and extensive in aviation history. But despite the cost and the complexities, the teams never lost sight of their mission: to solve the mystery of Flight 370 and bring closure to the families of the 239 souls on board. While these clues painted a grim picture, they brought us closer to solving one of the greatest aviation mysteries of our time. Years of relentless search and investigation finally led to a startling discovery, one that shook the world and brought a somber resolution to the mystery. The culmination of tireless efforts, sleepless nights, and countless theories came to a startling conclusion. The wreckage of the ill-fated Malaysia Flight 370 was finally discovered, resting silently in the depths of the Indian Ocean. This discovery corroborated the earlier satellite data analysis, which had suggested this as the final location. It was a moment of profound sadness, yet it also brought a sense of closure to a mystery that had perplexed the world. The ocean, often a symbol of life's mysteries and the unknown, had held on to this secret for years. When the wreckage was found, it was as if the ocean relinquished its hold, allowing the world a glimpse into the final moments of the flight. Amidst the ruins of the aircraft, investigators pieced together the last puzzle of this aviation enigma. The conclusion was as startling as the mystery itself. The plane's disappearance was not due to a catastrophic failure or a terrorist attack, but rather a controlled ditching. This revelation challenged everything we thought we knew about the flight's disappearance. It begged the question, why? What circumstances led to such a drastic measure? The answers may be forever lost with the brave souls aboard that flight, forever etched in the annals of aviation history. The discovery of the wreckage and the conclusion that followed brought a heavy heart to all those involved. It was a painful reminder of the lives lost, the families left behind, and the mystery that had held the world in its grip. But even in the face of such a tragedy, there was a sense of closure. The world could finally lay to rest the enigma of Malaysia Flight 370. The final resting place of Flight 370 at the bottom of the Indian Ocean brought a tragic end to a mystery that had gripped the world for years. The mystery of Malaysia Flight 370, a story of loss, confusion, and relentless search, finally found its resolution in the depths of the Indian Ocean. This enigma that baffled the world for so long took us on a journey through a maze of clues and theories. The search was arduous, the investigation intricate, yet the discovery was astounding, challenging everything we thought we knew about this perplexing aviation puzzle. This mystery brought about a profound impact on aviation safety. It propelled the industry to re-evaluate its protocols, to enhance tracking systems, to strengthen emergency responses. It changed the way we approach aviation security and disaster management. As we look back on this saga, we reflect on the transformative power of a single event. An event that stirred the world, that tested our resolve, an event that ultimately brought about change. As we remember the lives lost on Flight 370, we are reminded of the power of determination, the pursuit of truth, and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity.